Yo, what's up, everybody? So, Monday, Tuesday, I was out camping out in Death Valley. It was awesome, man. I've been to Death Valley many times. I've been there. I was there in July 2018 when it hit 130 degrees. And I just went the other day camping out. And it was kind of cold that night. It got down to 39 degrees. I had a little tent, sleeping bag. I was wrapped up in layers, but 39 is not freezing. Wasn't snowing or anything, but I don't know if any of you have ever done any cold weather camping, but that's a whole different thing. And the thing I like about camping, the thing I like about getting out there in nature and, spending some time sleeping out under the stars, that puts you, no matter how skilled you are or how experienced you are at doing that sort of thing, that just takes you right out of your comfort zone. Most of us, our natural situation, if you want to call it that, is a nice place to live, a roof over your head, a warm bed at night, water to drink. Go out of that comfort zone every now and then. That is a very powerful exercise. And I like to do that just because it makes you very appreciative of the little things in life. And that's really what it all boils down to. When you spend some time out in the wilderness and when you're sleeping in 39 degrees or whatever, even if it's like decent weather, you're sleeping on a inflatable mattress inside a little tent and, you got to purify some water, or, you're cooking on some little gas stove or building a fire. Very primitive compared to what we have every day and what we take for granted. It's a very powerful exercise because it makes you understand that it's really all about the simple things in life that make you happy or that can make you happy. We bitch and moan about our situations, our job, the market, whatever. As a matter of fact, if you're in the market, if you are an investor, and if you're one of those people, which I think a lot of you are, who are so highly emotional and freak out all the time when things go down, I think it's an important thing to do to get yourself out into a different environment and to experience some discomfort. I talk about discomfort all the time as it pertains to investing and putting yourself in that situation, feeling it, dealing with it, embracing it, framing it properly. And you can do that in the realm of investing, but there's nothing like getting out of your comfort zone physically. Like, go out there, camp, spend some time in the wilderness, get into some uncomfortable or unfamiliar situations. Learn how to deal with that. Feel that discomfort. Like, go there specifically with that objective. I tend to be a little bit of a little lazy, a little bit of a procrastinator. When I think about these trips, I get excited, but then I'm like, I don't know if I really want to do it. And I've been that way my whole life. But recently, the way I think about it is, if I don't want to do it because it seems like it's going to be a hassle or it's going to be uncomfortable, then I get really motivated to do it. Like, I have to do that because I know that it's going to take me out of my comfort zone, and that's something that I want to experience. Like, every time you do that, that's a form of resistance. That's a form of building resilience, building strength. It's really powerful. Very, very powerful. So I recommend it highly. I don't know where you guys live, but I'm sure there's places you can go. There's national parks, there's state parks, there's just outdoors. I mean, take a long walk. I used to do that in New York City. I used to take walks of 20, 30 miles. When I was training for my Grand Canyon rim to rim hike, I did a 30-mile hike, walk, whatever you want to call it, where I walked from the tip of Manhattan, Battery Park, all the way across the George Washington Bridge to New Jersey and back down again to Battery Park in one day. That was 30 miles. Do something like that. That'll take yourself out of your comfort zone. Do long walks. But if you can go out there, and if you can camp, and if you can spend some time in the wilderness, and if you can put yourself, or I should say, you should put yourself in uncomfortable situations. Because this spills over into what we do as investors. Like I see people, and some people on here, not as many as I used to see, but the reactions of some people, how they become hysterical because something doesn't happen in one day. They become hysterical. Or the market goes down and they're panicking and they're freaking out and they have zero control over their emotions. They just go into a complete meltdown, zero control over their emotions. That is never, ever going to work out for you. As a matter of fact, I was just talking today, I sent out an email to some of my subscribers, that I was saying, there is never anything to be anxious or concerned about when it comes to investing. Nothing. I don't care. It's just all about understanding what the economic conditions are, and the only way you could do that is by having a good understanding of what drives the economy, and basically that's policy. And I don't care if you're talking about policy in the United States or in Europe or in North Korea for that matter. The fundamental basis for all economies in societies, we're not talking about a jungle system. In societies where there's some overarching authority, political system, whatever you want to call it, it comes down to policy. That drives economic conditions. And it could be vastly different in some other, situations. It could be similar to what we have in like Western democracies, but it all comes down to policy. That is the fundamental basis that drives economic systems, because we all live in societies, and in societies there is an overarching authority, a government, whatever you want to call it, that institutes policy, and that's the first derivative. I always call it that, the first derivative of basic economic conditions. Then there's the private sector, but that comes next. So having an understanding of economic conditions, okay, personal behavior, which basically comes down to controlling your emotions. Very simply stated, you have to control your emotions. And I've made so many videos and I've given so many examples of investor behavior, which is kind of self-sabotaging when, they're trading off of a headline or off of what somebody said, or, off of whatever it is. And with zero ability to control their emotions, just reacting in the moment and going from one view to another view, day by day, because somebody said something or there was a headline. I mean, you must be able to control your emotions, otherwise it's going to end up not working out. It's going to end up being a disaster. Okay, so you have to control your emotions. And so basic understanding of basic economic conditions, controlling your emotions. Now, the stock market is an amazing, fantastic vehicle for growing your wealth, for wealth accumulation. And the beauty is that nowadays, with the sophistication of financial markets, there are so many instruments at your disposal. Even talking about just plain vanilla stocks, where it doesn't matter if economic conditions are good or if economic conditions are bad, you can profit in those situations. It's just that you need to first have the understanding of basic economic conditions. So if you can control your emotions, and if you focus on having a grasp or an understanding of basic economic conditions, which comes from an understanding, a real understanding of how the monetary system operates, and you get it from MMT, because MMT is a concise explanation of how the monetary system operates. It's not this phony baloney monetarism and mainstream economics, which is still kind of stuck in a gold standard fixed exchange rate mentality. No. If you're able to understand the impact of policy on the economy, then you have no reason to be anxious or worried. But that also means you have to control your emotions. And you can't do things, you have to be aware that you may behave in a way that will self-sabotage what you're trying to achieve. And that, again, that goes back to emotional decision-making. It goes to short-term thinking. Short-term thinking is like a gambling mentality. Okay? That's no good. What else? It's a lack of confidence. All right? When you're quick to jump out, even though you have maybe the correct understanding of the big picture, but you're quick to jump out. Again, short-term thinking, it's got to happen like this. It's got to happen like this. Over trading in the sense of over leveraging your position so that you put yourself in jeopardy. That's almost like some kind of internal self-sabotaging mechanism where people, that's a gambling mentality. Like, I got to hit it big right now. I mean, Warren Buffett, I always end up coming back to him as an example. He's like, 91, 92 years old. He made that fortune over, 60 years? I mean, he's in the top 10 of the richest people in the world. I think he's like number 4 or number 5. And the reason why I always bring this up is because he never invented anything. He never created any new industry. He never created any new technology. He never created any business. And the craziest thing is, most of the stocks and companies that he invested in, which generated this massive wealth, were like plain vanilla, ordinary companies. It wasn't like he found he got in early on Amazon or Apple. He never even touched those things. He was in things like Coca-Cola and insurance businesses and stuff like that. So it's not that you have to respect that guy, but you have to respect like the process of how he was able to do it. I always say, time makes you rich, not timing. See, that's a fallacy. We're all told like, it's all about timing. It's not all about timing. It's all about time. And most people are impatient, and they need it to happen like right away. Patience, this is a cliche, but it's true. Patience is a virtue. Okay? And it's something, if you don't have it, you got to train yourself to have it. You got to work on it, because time is what makes you rich, not timing. You could be off on your timing, but if you're patient and you have the right view and the right understanding, and you have self-control, which patience is a part of that, that is a trait, that goes with self-control, then it's going to be okay. It's all going to be okay. So those are some things to think about. But again, coming back to what I said in the beginning about putting yourself in uncomfortable situations, taking yourself out of your comfort zone, however that may be. It could be going to the gym. It could be camping. It could be, learning something new, which seems awkward and difficult at first. That's a very powerful thing to develop the internal strength, the resilience, the fortitude, the growth, right? Growth comes from resistance. So I had a great time in Death Valley. It's freaking awesome. I've been there many times. It's the largest national park in the 48 states. It's in the United States, the lower 48. It's the biggest. The only one bigger is in Alaska. But it's an incredible, incredible place. It almost feels, if you've never been there, it feels like you're on another planet. And you might think it's just pure desert, but the variety there, the landscape, the night sky is amazing. I mean, I literally saw the Milky Way galaxy like so clear and so bright. It was a fantastic experience. And if you have never tried camping out in cold weather, and this wasn't like cold, but I'm telling you, that 39 degrees, it hit 39 degrees, and I was layered up, and I had a sleeping bag, and we had a fire going, but that didn't go all night long. But try to do that. That's definitely something that'll put you in discomfort. Believe me, it's no fun being cold. But try to get through a night like that, and you will have built up internal strength from doing that. Anyway, there's not much to talk about in the market right now. We're in kind of a trading range. We bounced back up from this little pullback. I don't think the market is going anywhere for the moment, and I still think that stock market averages have not factored in the fact that the economy has slowed down significantly from the third quarter of last year. I mean, the fourth quarter, they're looking at 2.2% GDP growth, and that's probably the best we're going to do in 2024. So I'm still saying that a pullback is highly likely. That doesn't mean the stock market's going to crash. It doesn't mean that we're going to go in a bear market. I mean, 2.2% growth is still growth. And at the end of the day, if the economy is growing, stocks are going to go up. And I'll say this one more time, that the stock market follows the economy. It's not the other way around. And I'm telling you this right now, that since the economy has slowed down in the fourth quarter and will be at a slower pace of growth this year, you're going to see the stock market follow suit. There will be a correction, which will be a correction that you can buy. But I'm just saying that, again, don't chase after anything. Be patient. Wait for it to come to you. Make the market pay your price. Never pay the market's price. That's what the market does to people. I've always said, if the market was a person, if it was a living thing, its job would be to fool you. And that's what it does to people all the time. Okay? It sucks them in at the top, and it makes them puke everything out at the bottom, when actually the behavior should be the opposite of that. Everybody knows that as a consumer. But when it comes to investing, and that comes down to not being able to control your emotions. It's the same part of the brain, this ancient reptilian part of the brain, was it the limbic system, that we have in us to protect us from being eaten by predators. That's the same part of the brain that engages when you see your portfolio going down. And your brain equates it with being eaten by a predator. And you're obviously not going to be eaten by a predator, but that's how you feel. It's that fight or flight mechanism. And it's totally, that's allowing yourself to let that ancient part of the brain dictate your emotions or control your emotions, when you should use, the frontal cortex. That's the elevated, the enlightened, the intelligent, the more, recent part of the brain. that, hey, I'm not going to get eaten. This is a great opportunity. All these great companies are on sale. What am I doing selling out, panicking, going crazy from some stupid headline that has no impact on economic conditions whatsoever? All it's doing is triggering people to behave in a self-sabotaging fashion. That's what it's all about, folks. Anyway, that's it for today. Go out there. Spend some time in the cold. Go camping. Get uncomfortable. See you tomorrow. Bye.